Going to college can be a time where students may feel lost, lonely, confused, anxious, inadequate, and stressed. These problems can lead to depression and, in turn, suicide. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among college students, and the number one cause of suicides is untreated depression. It is important that you know the warning signs and how to help yourself or others that you think may be in danger. What should you do if you are considering harming yourself?
If you are considering harming yourself or suicide, you should know, first of all, you're not alone. Just in general, about 10% of college students really have thoughts about suicide. So you might seem like you're all alone, but it's actually a problem that we see a lot. As therapists, you're not going to scare us by coming in and telling us that you have thoughts of suicide. We're not going to be panicked. We see it here on campus. So you should really just know that you're not alone. The second thing you should do is really ask for help. If you're thinking about suicide, a lot of times you might have been thinking a certain way or keeping things a lot to yourself. It really is helpful to go to someone else and say, these are what I'm struggling with. A lot of times people have stereotypes of what's going to happen if you go to a counselor and tell them that you have thoughts of suicide and, what comes next. It was not a scary process. About 85% of students last year on TCU who came to a counselor and said, I'm having thoughts of suicide, about 85% we were able to treat in their center. Sometimes it gets more severe, and maybe a student might have to take a break from school, and maybe they need a second opinion from the community provider. But in the majority, again, 85% of students who report thoughts of suicide, we were able to treat here on campus. So please just ask for help.
How can you tell if someone is suicidal?
There are some common warning signs in terms of someone is thinking about suicide. I think the most common one is a person who actually might be talking about suicide. For some reason that just becomes part of the language, or even talking about death or loss. And that, again, is something that just becomes part of the language, something they talk about. But another common thing is just a theme of hopelessness. If you have someone talk about how they've given up hope, and that could be about relationship, could be about school, just that theme of hopelessness, that's really been shown to be a very powerful indicator that someone might be thinking about hurting themselves. Some other signs that are kind of associated with suicide is any really rapid change of emotion, so like impulsivity or anxiety or just stress or depression, anything like that. That might be something to kind of ask about, because a person who's struggling with those emotions, that might lead to thoughts about hurting themselves. But there are also some behavior signs, like not taking care of themselves. So they don't shower, don't maintain the hygiene, or even kind of risky behaviors. All of a sudden they may drink way more than normal, or may go out way more and just do risky things, with sexual partners or drugs or alcohol, things like that. All those are kind of common signs that might give an indication that a person might be thinking about suicide.
How can you help someone that you think is considering suicide?
So be observant. Know the possible warning signs and trust your intuition and your judgment. And then share your concerns. Reach out to the person, show them what you're observing, and don't be argumentative, just say, this is why I'm concerned. And then ask about suicide. Yes, use the word suicide and ask directly, are you thinking about having thoughts of suicide? And then be respectful. Let them know that you are understanding, listen to them, stay connected, and avoid all judgments.
Suicide can be prevented. While some suicides occur without any outward warning, most people who are suicidal do give warnings. Prevent the suicide of others by learning to recognize the signs of someone at risk, taking those signs seriously, and knowing how to respond to them. Counseling sessions are free for enrolled students at TCU. Appointments are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis and typically last 1 hour. You can call 817-257-7863 to make an appointment. In case of an emergency, walk-in appointments are available during regular business hours, which are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Counseling Center is located in the Brown-Lupton Health Center at 2825 Stadium Drive. The Counseling Center has its own entrance on the west side of the building that faces Stadium Drive.